wanted to say a few words to my fellow Vermonters and to anyone else who might be interested as to why I will be voting against this deficit reduction package when it comes to the floor. And the reason is pretty simple. This deficit reduction package is grotesquely unfair, and it is also bad economic policy. It should not be passed. Mr. President, the wealthiest people in this country and the largest corporations are doing phenomenally well. In a recent 25-year period, 80% of all new income created in America went to the top 1%, who now earn more income than the bottom 50%. In terms of wealth, the United States has the most unequal distribution of wealth of any major country on earth, with the top 400 people owning more wealth than the bottom 150 million Americans. And when we talk about this deficit reduction package, with the richest people becoming richer, huge corporations making billions of dollars in profits, and in some cases paying nothing in taxes, how much are those people, the wealthy and the powerful, asked to contribute toward deficit reduction and shared sacrifice? How much are the rich and the powerful going to contribute into this deficit reduction package? And the answer is zero, not 1 cent. Meanwhile, as everybody in America knows, we are in the midst of a horrendous recession. Real unemployment is over 16%. People have lost their homes, their life savings. We have the highest rate of childhood poverty in the industrialized world. And yet this deficit reduction package comes down on those people, the working families, the low-income people, the sick, the elderly, the children. Rich pay nothing, large corporations pay nothing, and yet working families and the most vulnerable people in this country are going to be shouldering the burden of deficit reduction on their shoulders. That is immoral, that is wrong, that is bad economic policy. Now, Mr. President, as you well know, this is a complicated package, and nobody can predict with any certainty exactly what programs will be cut and how much they will be cut, because the process will kick in to the appropriations committees here all over the House and the Senate, and they will go to a super committee who will make very significant decisions. So nobody with certainty can tell you exactly what programs will be cut. But what we can say is that we are looking to up to $1.4 trillion in cuts, and virtually every program that working families depend upon, that our children depend upon, that the sick depend upon, are on the line. Now, in my state, for example, it gets cold. We have a beautiful state, and we love our winters, but it gets cold. It gets 10 below zero, 20 below zero. And many people in my state, including senior citizens, desperately need a program called LIHEAP, the Low-Income Heating Energy Assistance Program, which provides help to many people, including a lot of seniors, in staying warm when it gets 20 below zero. I fear very much that there will be major cuts in that program. In our state, we have done very, very well in expanding community health centers. We've got over 110,000 people who are now accessing new community health centers, finally being able to get to a doctor and a dentist when they need it. I'm going to do everything that I can to prevent those cuts. I fear that those programs can be cut. In Vermont, in Connecticut, all over this country, we have a major crisis in child care. Families want to get into the Head Start program. They want affordable child care. Those programs will be cut. In my state, we have a program that helps struggling dairy farmers, a program called the Milk Program. It helps them stay in business. I fear very much, and I'm going to fight against this, I fear that that program will be cut. We have young people today from working class families hoping upon hope that maybe they will be able to afford to go to college. Well, we can expect major cuts in Pell Grants and other programs that make college affordable for our young people. In this country, we have people who are going hungry. We did a study recently, more hunger among seniors. Some of those programs will be cut. Affordable housing programs will be cut. So let us not kid ourselves. In the midst of a terrible recession, when so many people are hurting, so many people are struggling just to keep their heads above water economically, this deficit reduction package is going to slap them at the side of the head and make life much more difficult for them. Now, Mr. President, as you well know, this is a two-part program. And the first part calls for approximately $900 billion in cuts. And the second part calls for about $1.2 to $1.5 trillion in cuts. And here's where it gets a little bit complicated. Because a super committee made up of 6 Democrats, 6 Republicans will have the opportunity to look at everything. As the majority leader said, everything is on the table. Now, what does that mean? If everything is on the table, Social Security is on the table. And what we have heard from our Republican friends, what we've heard from some Democratic friends, what we've heard from the President of the United States is that maybe we should adopt a so-called chain CPI, which will result in very significant cuts in Social Security benefits. If you're 65 now and that program is implemented, when you are 75, you're going to lose $560 a year. 20 years from now, when you're 85, you're going to lose $1,000 a year. Am I saying that definitely will happen? No, I'm not. Social Security will be on the table. Medicare will be on the table. Medicaid will be on the table. Everything will be on the table. If that committee ends up not coming to a decision, if they end up being deadlocked, say 6-6, then we go to a sequestration program and more cuts are being made. So I would say, Mr. President, that when poll after poll after poll suggests very strongly that the American people want shared sacrifice. A poll just came out last week, Washington Post. 72% of the people polled said that they believe that folks making more than $250,000 a year should pay more in taxes in order to help us with deficit reduction. Poll after poll says that it is absurd that large corporations get incredible loopholes which enable them to make billions in profits and not pay one nickel in taxes. So, Mr. President, this is a bad proposal. This is an unfair proposal. We can do better, and we must do better. And I do not intend to vote for a deficit reduction package where the sacrifices are being made by people in the middle class and working class who are already hurting. It is time for the big money interest to stop remembering they are also Americans and they should contribute to deficit reduction.